it's Bill from HistoryHighlights.com. I've got a bonus for you on this July the 21st. A couple of features on the Library of Congress website that I absolutely could not resist. So I'm going to throw in one extra for you here on the 21st. This one is about Ernest Hemingway. It was on July the 21st of 1899 that Dr. Clarence Hemingway stepped onto the porch of his Oak Park, Illinois home and blew his cornet to announce the birth of his son Ernest. During Ernest Hemingway's boyhood, his family spent much time at their cottage near Walloon Lake in northern Michigan, where his father enjoyed hunting and other sports. The love for the great outdoors and the physically active life his father instilled in him remained with Hemingway for the rest of his life. In his 1932 book, Death in the Afternoon, Ernest Hemingway wrote, "If a writer of prose knows enough about what he is writing about, he may omit things that he knows, and the reader, if the writer is writing truly enough, will have a feeling of those things as strongly as though the writer had stated them. The dignity of movement of an iceberg is due to only 1/8 of it being above water." Well, after graduating from high school, Hemingway worked briefly as a reporter for the Kansas City Star before volunteering for service in World War I. He was excluded from regular military duty because of a defective eye, and he worked as an ambulance driver for the Red Cross in Italy, where he was badly injured. Hemingway drew on his wartime experience of falling in love with his nurse while recuperating in a Milan hospital as a background for his novel A Farewell to Arms. Hemingway returned to Europe after the war. He worked in Paris as a foreign correspondent for the Toronto Star, and there he became part of a group of expatriate American artists and writers who would become known as the Lost Generation. Now, that was a term coined by writer Gertrude Stein and used by Hemingway as an epigraph to his first novel, The Sun Also Rises, 1926. Hemingway developed a passion for Spain and for the country's national sport of bullfighting, and he worked there as a correspondent during the Spanish Civil War. As a reporter during World War II, Hemingway flew several missions with the Royal Air Force, crossed the English Channel with the American troops on D-Day, and participated in the liberation of Paris. His remarkable adventures found their way into books such as For Whom the Bell Tolls. In 1943, Hemingway wrote an appeal to his friend, Librarian of Congress Archibald MacLeish, the poet and dramatist who at that time was also serving as assistant director of the Office of War Information. Hemingway wrote, "Is there any chance that we might send guys to the war not to write government publications or propaganda, but so as to have something good written afterwards? What do you think? Maybe I could be the accredited correspondent for the Library of Congress. Write me about it seriously, will you?" Although MacLeish was unable to grant him accreditation, Hemingway did become a foreign correspondent during World War II. Ernest Hemingway received a Pulitzer Prize in Fiction for his book The Old Man and the Sea in 1953, and the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1954. Suffering from anxiety and depression, Hemingway took his own life in 1961. His use of terse prose and dialogue and short, simple sentences stripped of emotional rhetoric is perhaps the most frequently appropriated writing style of the 20th century. A little bonus for you today with a little bit of information about Ernest Hemingway. I hope you make the most of today. Get out there and enjoy it. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.